The eyes of the Lord are upon the simple kingdom. Now, why was the eyes of the Lord upon the simple kingdom? Because why? The eyes of the Lord, and I'm going to show you Satan's army. His army. Let's go to Genesis, Sodom and Gomorrah. His army. So what people they utilize behind closed doors, because they are afraid to engage men. That phone call to me confirmed what I always understood. The powerful, strong, educated, gay white man uses everything at his disposal because he knows he cannot engage physically with the children of Israel. So he'll be over corporations and everything, but he'll use a white woman. He'll use who? That's right, folks. He would use a gay black man. He would even use a sister. Because sisters know that they can't physically engage a brother, but they know they can snap and do all that and got 911 on speed dial. So a sister come in and say, I'll handle it. And the gay white dude would just sit back there, and see his handiwork. That's his top soldier. That's Satan's top soldier, the Baphomet, the gay white man. He'll use that, or he'll use the stud white woman. The stud white woman, sometimes, she know, listen, because brothers see them differently, right? You're going to have to back up because I don't know, I can't do this to the sister, but hey, you're looking pretty manly right now. So usually she'll back down and try to get the sisters. At the end of it, it's the sister at the lowest at the totem pole, but she becomes the chief soldier, infantry, and is willing to take all the bullets for all the people who has a battery in their back. And that's because usually the black man backs down. He backs down. But it come a time we got to be like, no. I know I'm indirectly being attacked through all of this, only to be at war with my own sister. I'm not doing it no more. Okay? We're coming straight for your lieutenants, your generals, the people who are behind the corporate machine putting up sisters to sue Donald Trump. Knowing that it's more gay white men who getting paid off of all of this stuff than any black person. She's always there as what? Infantry, to take all of the bullets. And that 10% of women who understand what's going on according to God's army is going to be like, nah, I'm not taking the bullets for y'all. If you want to do it, you do it. Sisters started waking up, started questioning things, started saying, well, hold up. We're the lowest demographic financially, ain't getting nothing, and started changing our minds towards what this corporate structure was. And they said, you know what? I tell you what, you're all fired. You're fired. We're cutting all your jobs because our sisters are waking up. Let's go to Sodom and Gomorrah. Read it, chapter, verse.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse number 1. And there came two angels to Sodom at even.
These are the eyes of the Lord. These are the eyes of the Lord. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Genesis 19, verse number 1. And there came two angels to Sodom at even. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways.
Come on.
And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
We will abide in the street all night. So when it says the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom, it's speaking of the seven angels that we see in Revelations over the seven churches, the top two out of the seven. He sent them into Sodom and Gomorrah and said, we're going to see what's going on. We're going to see what's going on. Like all of these satanic hubs we see, like Miami, like the Florida Keys, like Dubai. Folks, we already have the information broken down. Let me tell you, they have already, based on the future geography, all of these areas that operate like Sodom and Gomorrah are prophesied, not prophesied, they're predicted by those that are over geography in the earth, the geographics of the earth. They are predicted to be underwater. Read it.
Verse 4. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter.
Read.
And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them unto us that we may know them.
Bring them unto us so that we can know them. We've seen those tall, strong men walking into your home to show you how freaked out Sodom and Gomorrah was. You could even walk around they was like, oh, what's going on here? They weren't at the last freak off. This is what's going on. These are the listen to this, folks. When you go into the story, these weren't just regular people. These were the governors. These were the politicians. These were the prestigious class amongst them. Folks, that's what we have right now. That's what's going on. We're talking about Satan's army. This is LBGTQ before it received a label. Those who draft our laws that causes all the conflicts behind the scenes. Who do you go up in a family court and you tell me who's really running family court and the social programs in our neighborhoods? The gays. The gays. I remember years ago, Azel was with me, and I'm sitting there, and we were dealing with some situations, and it was like, well, we heard you got a job. This little slim white dude. He says, yeah, you need to sign this, with his little finger, you need to sign this paper here. I'm like, listen, dude, what you mean sign the paper? Just sign that. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, so what happens if I don't sign this? But because the paperwork says if I sign this, I'm agreeing for you to garnish my wages. So if I don't sign this, what happens? Well, I'm like, deuces. And I got up and walked, and that was it on that. Didn't hear anything from him. A lot of people don't know, a lot of brothers don't know, what you're doing is what you agreed to do by putting your signature there that binds you federally. When all these family courts, all these stuff are ran by Sodom and Gomorrah. They're there to keep the conflict going between the image of God. They're there to keep the conflict between man and woman. Because what? A dysfunctional family gives them more access to orphan children. And when the children are alone and don't have proper care over them, 9 times out of 10, the streets converts them into LGBTQ. That's the army of Satan. And it happened before. It's Satan's army. And we sitting there saying, live and let live. Listen, ain't no live and let live. These people aren't going to stop. And what do? Here's the 7 deadly sins again. Pride. What's the name of their parades? This is how Satan institutes everything they need to destroy the image of God in the earth, pointing this to us. Pride, envy. Who you think that be on these television shows producing, causing all these conflicts, having our sisters like fools clamming over tables? Who you think stoking this and whispering in their ear certain things? You know, she said last night that she know where your ring is, and I think she gave it to her cousin. It be them stoking this stuff between the women and then put them next to each other the next day to bring up the situation. Envy. Wrath. They'll sit there and see a war go down between two people and sit there and snicker and smile at their handiwork. Why? Because they know they can't engage you. But then you got a whole nother demographic of them, which are physical warriors. That's a whole nother demographic. A whole nother demographic. How many of you knew that the lead guy who played in Fast and Furious, who knew that guy was straight, just total on the soft side of the city? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, you see how burly and strong. I'm gonna tell you, that's another class. And that's the class of sodomites we're reading here. These are Satan's soldiers. Read it.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 4. But before they laid down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young. All the people from
old and young. These are there in your schools that are convincing your child, a boy, that they should put on a dress. And they're not just doing this to our children, folks. They'll do this to their own children. And they'll only do it in these major cities. Let me tell you, they know not to do it in the red states. Where those white, the white people that got Trump signs in front of their door, you ain't doing none of that around here. They be like, hey, we'll string you up. It's 2025. They still talk about stringing people up. That's why they know not to do it in those areas. So they're not that aggressive. They only go after who? The weak. They go after the weak. Read the 5th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 5. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them.
Come on.
And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
He says, do not so wickedly. These are my guests. And that also shows how the angels can operate, and they can walk right amongst us with our fashion on and everything, and you won't even know it's an angel. That's why it says, be not careful to entertain angels, because some have entertained. Be not careful to entertain strangers, because some have entertained angels unawares. So they thought that he was just some tall, strong. They seen him tall and all that. We're like, man, where these dudes come from? And Lot, you got to hand them over. A whole city of Fleece Johnsons. Read.
Verse 8. Behold now, I have 2 daughters which have not known man.
I have 2 daughters that have never been touched by men. Now, some people might ask, well, hold up. Why would he do this? Well, think about it. When you read into Jash and other information, whatchamacallit's mother, Lot's wife, was already full mind into the ideology of Sodom and Gomorrah. So he says, listen, y'all got some people there, just marry my daughters. And he was giving them an opportunity to be straight. I got some daughters. Deal with them. And to prove to you that they were already convinced in the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah, and it was named mainly through the mother who loved Sodom and Gomorrah. No sooner Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, Lot's daughters laid down with him while he was sleeping drunk. So they were influenced. And this is why Christ said, remember Lot's wife. People just think about just the looking back. No, she was allowing that influence to influence her children when it was her position as the mother to make sure that that child was brought up under the traditions of what? The righteous forefathers of Lot. Oh, you go let those kids play. Don't worry about it. You always, and you think it's okay. And my father wasn't having it. Let me tell you, you walk into my house, even if you were thinking of being like that, he was just watching how you walk. Like, hey boy, what your hands doing on your shoulders for? We don't do that up in here. You can't even rest your hands on your shoulders. Like no, and with your feet out. No, that's a telltale sign. He'll tell you, straighten up, boy, straighten up. Read on.
Yes, sir. Verse 9. And they said, stand back.
They say, Lot, you better back up. Read. And
they said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them.
They say, listen, Lot, if you don't allow us to have our way with these dudes, then we'll include you. We'll start with you. The whole jailhouse activity that they cultivated in the jail was the Sodom and Gomorrah model that they have let loose on society. Read.
And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
Come on.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door.
So the angels pulled Lot in and shut the door. Read.
11. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door.
Now, this is how freaked out these guys were. You would think that if you were smitten with blindness, okay, let me feel my way home. No. It's like, I'm getting up in here. 12.
Verse 12. All right, verse. All right, Salakia, verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou there any besides, son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters? And whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place.
Bring them out of this place. He says, is there anybody else you got in this house? Because the whole city has turned. There's no one in that city outside of Lot's house that actually pushed back from the gradual change of society that led to where God said, go check this place out. You got to think about that. And that's us allowing everything to incrementally and politically be put in our schools and taught to our children without any pushback. Allowing them to use a stranger from somewhere else to claim to be us, to bring forth policy that would lead to them selling and coming after the children of Israel in these cities. Now, because we sat back and allow it to happen, now who's the bully? They claim, oh, I'm the victim. And now they're the bullies. Wrecking our neighborhoods, in conversations that have nothing to do with them, causing conflict, and refuse to repent. And above all, they know they're soldiers of God because they hate the Bible. They're soldiers of Satan, because what? They hate the Bible. These soldiers of Satan. (13)
Yes, sir. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord.
And what happens eventually? And the proof is still there. With the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, you can still smell of smoke and sulfur till this day. And this happened thousands of years ago. The Most High rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's his plan, to rain down on all these cities that have turned to Satan. You have to realize these are soldiers that have been put on the battlefield politically and otherwise against the 10%. The image of God. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What
are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.